రెండు ఏం లేవు. He says whether the spiritual life and worldly life, are they separate or they are one? If they are separate, how to balance them? In fact, there are no two lives. You live only one life. How to say whether it is spiritual or worldly is, it depends upon the object, the goal, the source from which you derive your fulfillment. If you want to derive your fulfillment from an worldly object, you call it a worldly life. And if you want to derive the same happiness and fulfillment from the so-called spiritual source, then it's called a spiritual life. What is the difference between the two? Here what happens with Baba is, usually normally it is like this, because either you have to choose between the two. They tell you, if you read any book on spirituality and Vedanta, they say you have to choose between the two. Either you have to choose worldly life or spiritual life. ఇప్పుడు దాకా ఉద్యోగం చేశాను, అందుకని ఇక ఆధ్యాత్మిక దిగిపోయా అంటారు. ఇక నేను ఇంకో 2 సంవత్సరాల తర్వాత దిగతా. For them, whether you are spiritual or worldly, you can't live both. Or if anybody wants to do it, they call it a different name, as if it is a compromise, a karma yoga, and these kind of yogas, as if it is a compromise. You have to evolve to Jnana Yoga slowly. It's okay. First do Karma Yoga. By saying that, they have a feeling of a compromise. Oh, they are not up to that level. It is a Karma Yoga. But what happens with Baba is, Baba never differentiated between the two. He picked up the real, whether it is worldly or spiritual. What is the source, what is the basis of a man's endeavor? Why people strive? Whether it is a worldly striving or a spiritual striving, whatever it is, why people strive? It is the fulfillment, the happiness. So, usually our mind is, our sense of fulfillment, our concept of fulfillment is through worldly objects only. So if you tell them, no, this is not the fulfillment, they experience it is the fulfillment. They want money, they have a problem, and unless it is solved, they can't be happy. But if you say that is all Maya, even if you feel unhappy also, it is not real. The real happiness lies somewhere there. They may listen, they may, out of respect, they may say, okay, it's okay. But it can't go into their heart. They can't understand it really. Then they see that it's not for them. It becomes too irrelevant and intangible. So, what Baba did was, as doing is, he wants to fulfill our desires by his power, by his tapashakti. And once we know that he is the source of the fulfillment, then slowly the shift goes from the actual object of the desire to the one who gives that object. So there are various different kinds of objects through which we wish to derive our happiness. And when there is one source which could give all these things, then our mind starts focused more and more on it. And slowly, as the love towards him develops, then the pull towards these objects, they got weakened. And then the pull towards Baba only remains. Because there is no insecurity. If you ask, he will give. But we don't feel like asking. We don't derive any more pleasure or happiness through it. So we don't care about it. Not that they are bad, not that they are worldly, not that they are maya or illusion or delusion and so on. Simply because we don't like, we don't feel like, we are experiencing it, we don't want it. Then the pull, the strings are released. Then where we land is, we land at the feet of Baba. That making us understand that he can give. First we try our own ways, right? But once we realize that we can't try and we can't get it, and then we experience that he is giving you, then we start depending upon, looking towards him more and more. And then he becomes the focus, the focal point of all our thoughts. That is what, in spite of all the lectures, the satsangs, the reading, that you have to concentrate on Ishta, on your Sadguru, on God, people can't do it. But here it becomes natural. It may take time, but at least after some time it happens, there it may not happen. And it is happening. So we'll all see how it is happening, how naturally it is unfolding. Not denying the world, getting what he experienced it. He knows what is spirituality, what is the spiritual goal. We do not know anything about it. And if we talk about those goals, it is meaningless. It is a meaningless talk. You call mukti, moksha, nirvana. Do you know what is nirvana? Have you ever experienced it? That you want it so much? Baba, I don't want anything, I want only mukti. You haven't experienced mukti at all, at any time. So it is a meaningless talk. Ask where you are, you start. And he takes care of it. He knows what to give you.
So there is no wrong in expecting our wish to get fulfilled, like material things, till we reach that stage where we can totally...
Whether we don't reach it also, what is the problem? That is his problem, not our problem.
So we don't have to feel guilty.
Nothing. No guilt at all. That guiltiness is the result of the long tradition of the so-called Vedanta. That the so-called spiritual tradition, which says this is all Maya, this is all bad, this is evil. If you go to some people and I want to know something about spirituality, first leave the world and come to me. If you could leave the world, there is no need for the Upadesh at all. Usually that I tell the example of Ramana Maharshi. One day, one lady came to Bhagavan and she sat in front of him and listened to some of his words, and she got very much thrilled and then said, Bhagavan, I have come to ask you for jnana, for mukti, and if you give me mukti, I don't want anything. I only come mukti, I don't want anything else. I don't have any desires at all. I am coming for you only for mukti, and if you give me, I will feel blessed. So Bhagavan said, sorry. And again she asked, and again he simply nodded. He simply said, okay. And then that lady left. Her duty is over and she left. And as she left the hall, and he started laughing like anything, holding his belly and almost rolling on his sofa. Such an uncontrolled, he was controlling himself. When this lady leaves the room, and so that he could laugh heartily. And as soon as she left, he started rolling on the sofa. And then all the devotees around him asked, why Bhagavan, why are you laughing? No. Just listening to her, what she asked, I felt like laughing. What is wrong with it? We laugh as a comfort, that's all. Is the desire such a laughable thing? No, no, not that. If anybody experiences that they don't want anything, they don't have any desires, what remains is mukti. What is that I am going to give them? So, it is such a paradox, that word. I don't want anything, only mukti. That is meaning. If you have that state of I don't want anything, that is mukti. And people are not ready for that. And there Baba comes. This is why even such a, almost you can say, an embodiment of renunciation and vairagya like Vemana. Actually these words we can't expect from the mouth of Vemana. What he said, Ihamu ledu, parame garadanu vaadi mata kalla mata. If anybody says there is nothing in the world, this is all bad, give it up. And only there is the para is there. But he is lying. He is telling you false things. He is deceiving you. Don't believe him. Ihamu lona paramu supagarevaadu. That a Sadguru, the one that who can show you that para, the so-called the spirit, here in the world, he is a Sadguru. And as far as I know, Baba is a Sadguru. He is such a one. He never asked you to eschew, to give up, to renounce, thinking that it's all bad, it's all worse. Even though he lived a life of a sannyasi, a fakir, but he never advised, he never told anybody. And he has been showing us the so-called the spiritual in here in the world. And he fulfills perfectly the definition of the Sadguru which Vemana has given. Either it is due to the not able to understand properly the tradition, the Vedantic tradition, or the incapacity to fulfill, take care of the people's worldly wishes, that people start saying, this is all not well, don't ask anything, don't ask any worldly desire. Everything is fate, everything is destiny. What is going to happen will happen. This is all your karma, your prarabdha. And if anything bad happens, it is also good for you. Your prarabdha has gone. These kinds of things. This is not here in Baba's tradition. His tradition is different. He has the power. He has the capacity to fulfill and take care. Whether it is a small and petty worldly thing, or it is a so-called very big thing like mukti. Both he can handle. In one finger, with one finger he can handle.